another house for you that has water. So on getting there, you came to inspect, and you noticed that what is there is a well water. So I now tell you that, okay, you say you can't, you don't want the house without water. So no, now I've provided another solution. This house now has water, but it's a well water. So you have to be fetching water from the well. I'm very sure some people will disagree and say, hey, in this 21st century, I cannot go and be fetching water. What like, how am I going to cope with that? So that means the issue is not only the water, it's beyond the water. It's now the form in which the water will be gotten. So that means you prefer maybe a bowl, a pipe passed into maybe your bathroom, your kitchen, your wherever you want water. You just want it to be accessible where you are, right? So that means your issue was not water alone. The mode in which the water is being brought to you or is being passed is also a factor to you. So okay, let's imagine that I get another house for you. Now you have water, it's borehole, but now I'm now telling you that, okay, you only have water. Maybe when you get to your kitchen, when you put on the tap, you have to wait for like 10 or 20 minutes before the water comes out. You say, what kind of problem is this? So that means the time in which, like, the accessibility of the water too also matters. The water is important to you. The way the water comes, that's the mode in which it comes, is important, and how timely it is. Like, you don't want to open your tap and be waiting, or maybe in your restroom, the water is coming out there. When you get to your kitchen, it's not coming out properly. So you begin to have different side comment that, no, I don't want this, until you get what you want. So now let's put this scenario, let's put it in form of data. So everywhere, let me say, data is one of the powerful tools for everyone everywhere now as it stands. And I would say that some companies or some people's business, the secret to the business or the success of their business is actually hidden in their data that is fragmented in different systems that they have not found someone to process it for them, to build a pipeline for them, and build an analytic system from it for them. Okay, let me share a recent experience. So I was working with a company on something, and while I was they gave me their data source, and while I was scanning through, I was asking questions about data. Then I noticed that okay, because this company, they offer data service, that's internet data. Then I noticed that someone has actually been, from the data that was given to me, I noticed that someone has actually been purchasing data without a source. So when I say purchasing data without a source, it means that for every data that has been purchased, there has to be a source. Are you buying it through this form or which form? So, but from the data, I noticed that, like, there is a consistent purchase of this data without a source. So when I shared the observation with the stakeholders, we came to a conclusion, and we started drilling through, digging deep into the data, that, okay, what is this thing? Then we noticed that, okay, then they said, okay, there was someone that is in charge of this thing. Then this person has resigned about maybe 2 years ago. After this person resigned, they went to check, when did this person resign? They checked the year the person resigned, and they traced the date to which that thing stopped. That was the same. The person, let's assume that the person resigned June. The thing stopped May. Yeah, the thing stopped May. The same year the person resigned, and the thing, like, went on for years before the person resigned. So now they had that data for a while. Like, they have had the data. That is, maybe it's almost like 2 years the person has resigned now. They had that data. Data has been sitting with them. That has been their system. But until they got someone to bring out the system data for them, process it, and begin to analyze it for them, they now began to say that, oh, There's even someone that we think has been helping us and has been stealing from us. So what the data can do in this world goes a long way, like a very, very long way. Okay, let me say another one. There's a senior colleague that I worked with in the same company at a particular time. So there was a time he consulted Kano Pillars, those that watch Nigerian Premier League. He contacted Kano Pillars that we act as their data consultants. So he took I don't know. Let me see if I can share that. Yeah, I think I have the minutes. Okay, I think I have the just a minute. Okay, yeah, I think I have the write up. Yeah. So he took their his name is Najib Sulaiman. So he took their data and he built an application for them, analyzed their data. From there, he was able to collect their data, and eventually he did some analysis on it, brought out some insight for them. And if as you will have it, Kano Pillars won the Nigerian Premier League, something that has not happened in over 25 years, and they even broke history. So you can see it. This is Nigerian Premier League. Sorry, that's the Kano Pillars. Remo Stars, rather. Remo Stars. So they won the Nigerian Premier League for the year 2024-2025. Now the thing is, all these years they have had that data, but there was no one to process it for them. So now this is where data pipeline comes in. Most times, the company has a lot of data, especially when the company becomes big. Now, I spoke of, let's say, Access Bank Nigeria. Access Bank Nigeria has a lot of subsidiaries, and they have an headquarters. So now imagine one subsidiary alone, they are processing billions, trillions, millions of data, not to now talk of all the subsidiaries, then the headquarters. So when you are still talking about, maybe your own small business, your entrepreneurship, maybe your small shop at Alaba or maybe at Maitu or something, it's still something that you can still manage. But then as your business begins to grow, you begin to have different shops. Look at shop right now. So now everything, data is being processed everywhere. Data is being, some people have this notion. They say AI is taking everywhere. Everywhere we take AI, it take over the jobs. But the truth is that the only thing that will change is maybe the job description. Maybe someone that is a data engineer will become data plus AI engineer or something, because every the data field or data engineering field is a field that you go a long way, because every day data is being generated. Like data is being generated as we are speaking. Data is being generated. So imagine you open I think there was a bank in Nigeria. There was a time they were upgrading their account and their mobile app, and people were, you log in today, you see your account balance is big. Tomorrow, your account balance has reduced. The next tomorrow, so those kinds of things. So inconsistency, all those things. So that's why the topic mastering data pipelines now comes in. So now you see that there are some keywords I underlined here, like building a scalable, reliable, and efficient. So scalable informs that when the thing becomes bigger, will this pipeline, can it still sustain the volume of things that are coming in? And also, is it reliable? Because whatever you are extracting, whatever data you are transforming, whatever data you are loading, you are eventually giving to people to analyze. Or if you are playing the role of the data engineer and data analyst also, whatever you are giving people or the stakeholders as a report has to be correct, like has to be reliable, has to be something that you are telling them that, okay, tomorrow, or you are telling them that this person has been coming late to work, and they now sanction the person, and eventually they check, they now say that, oh, it was when you were doing your analysis that something went wrong. This person has not. Do you understand? So you have committed a serious mistakes. So now when you are building data pipelines, it's let me go to the definition. So okay, this is just an addenda, just some of the things we will talk about. So data pipeline. So just because of those that are aspiring data engineers and those that are junior data engineers. I don't want to use too ambiguous words. So just from the word pipeline, like I explained, there's water pipeline, there's gas pipeline, there are a lot of pipelines. So now this pipeline is just something or a process that is carrying data. It's carrying the data. So now you have different sections to your work and the likes. So now you are the CEO of your job. You have different subsidiaries to you. Now, on a daily, you want to be seeing your sales record as it's being done. Now, let's imagine that if you have a branch in Lagos, you have another branch still within Lagos, you can say, okay, you want to go in the morning, go and monitor it. So now imagine that you have different branches across the world. So will you start flying everywhere to be monitoring? No, that's where you see the data now you now have to have a central repository where, sorry, is someone saying something? So you now have to have a central repository where the data is being, is being gathered and everyone is seeing it, and you yourself, you're able to make sense from whatever is being reported. So now that is where data pipeline becomes very, very essential. Once the data is still in a single source, sometimes you might not even need a paper data pipeline. Some people can just even ingest the data, put it in maybe Excel, do whatever they want to do. Even in Power BI, you can just get data, put it there. But once the data sources, they become like numerous, they start getting plenty. Like you have different data sources, and you have to bring all of them to a place, and you have to have something that is reusable, that you can always run maybe on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, or it has to do with streaming. You have to be getting it as it is going. So imagine you want to do fraud detection, and you now want to build a pipeline. You're telling them that this thing it will be getting updated in every maybe 5 minutes or every 10 minutes. If the fraud has happened like 5 minutes ago, you're in soup, because the data, what you are reporting, is already 5 minutes late. So depending on whatever system you are building, you need to understand what that data pipeline is. So yeah, you can see that I just defined data pipeline as a series of processes, to extract, to transform and load. So now sometimes it might not be ETL, sometimes it might be ELT. So that one is another discussion. But then majorly what data pipeline is doing is it is moving data from one source to another place. That's a destination. So it's carrying the data from one place. And most times, you are taking the data from an OLTP to perform a function of an OLAP. So that means from all this transaction so that's why I said that, you see, data is being generated every day. As every action, every event is happening in this world, data is being generated. If you are watching football, by the time if you are observant, you will see some people when you see some I think it's been a while I watched football like that. Just watch highlights. You see, I know there was a time you see is it Opta stats, and I think there was a time Oracle too was sponsoring some of their statistics. You will see, they will say that, okay, the last maybe head to head that these people have met, this was the result. This is the probability of this team winning over this team. You will see that, okay, this person, maybe it's a penalty shootout. They can say, okay, this person has won in his last 2 or 3 penalty shootouts. He has scored in the last 3. He has. Do you understand all those informations? It's not as if those people have it in their head or on their head. There's a data source. There's a warehouse, or there's somewhere where those informations are being stored. So you don't have them everywhere. You don't just have them scattered everywhere. So again, as they are developing every company, as one company is saying they are fintech, as another company is saying that they are tech, as some are saying they are software company, as some are saying they are telco, they are generating data. This company is saying that we just launched a new app. Don't forget that app is generating data. By the time you go to your ATM, you want to withdraw money, You have to check your account balance. That figure you're seeing is data from somewhere. The same when you open your mobile app, you are seeing data there. When you're doing a transaction, that transaction is going somewhere. It's going somewhere, and that is why most times you see that when you maybe open a particular application, by the time you're opening maybe okay, let me say Jumia for instance. Maybe you search for laptop on Jumia. You're tracking the price of laptop. By the time you go back to Instagram, you're already seeing Instagram advertising. Like within seconds, Instagram is already advertising laptop for you. They're already showing you prices of laptops. And you're like, how did Instagram know that I want to buy laptop? Do you understand? So all those data, like sometimes it has to be in batches, sometimes it has to be in real time. So basically, data pipeline is just something that is moving data from one place to another. So now, another definition is that it's an automated process. So remember the scenario I painted that okay, you have a bowl that your water is, the only thing you just have to do is okay, maybe when the water, maybe you finish the water, you have to just go to the pumping machine, put it on, then you have water again. And if you have another source in which the water is being pumped, you just have to get it. So it has to be automated. So imagine someone is telling that okay, no, the water, you can only fetch water in the morning, or the water, you can only have water in your tap in the morning, you will not have in the afternoon, not have in the like that is not what I want. So in this whole automated process, when you are picking the water, if the source of the water is dirty, you definitely don't want to have a dirty water at your destination. That means when you open your tap in your kitchen, you don't want to have dirty water there. You want to have a process that would have cleaned that water. You don't want to know. Okay, let me start another example. If you lodge maybe in a guest house or Airbnb, or let's say or reservations, and most times you just go there, you use the water, you don't even know where the source of the water is most times. If someone enters your room and tells you that, do you know that the water you used in the restroom, it's from this place? You be like, are you serious? It does not even look like it. Do you understand? So most times you don't even know where the source of this thing is coming from, but what you just want is you want it to be clean. So that means that's now put it in form of data. By the time your data is coming, it's when this, wherever the source is, it is in different places, different sources. But what you just want is that you want it to be cleaned. You want it to be that okay, when I want to say that I want to know the number of customers in my company, or that that are patronizing my product, you have it. You want to know the product that they are buying the most. You want to know okay, which customers, like when the customer pay the most, or when they purchase from me the most. Is it that is it end of? So you want to know okay, is it monthly earners and salary earners that they are most of your customers? So definitely, if you want to maybe push out some products, you'll be targeting end of the end of the month. There was this joke on Instagram that there are some people when they know that you are a salary earners, is at the end of the month, maybe your siblings at the end of the month, they'll now start sending you some billings and the like. So that is an information, that's a data they have collected on their own, that okay, the best time for me to ask money from maybe my brother or my uncle is at the end of the month, because I believe that he would have collected salary. But if you understand that okay, maybe he's a businessman, you know that okay, you'll be targeting the time that you know that okay, maybe he has invested his money or something. So all those process, it has to be transformed. Like when you're moving your data, there are some processes there. So you can see that I said a data pipeline automates the flow of data from source to destination. Sometimes some pipelines may not be automated for some reasons, and sometimes it could be automated depending on the use case and the request of the business. So now the main purpose of this data pipeline is to ensure that data is collected. This data that is being collected is also transformed and delivered reliably. Like I said, I can't give you a data source that says that the number of students in this school is 9,000. And by the time you are now reporting it, or by the time you are telling me that, okay, this is now the new destination of data, this is where we can be picking our data from, I'm now seeing 10,000 students. I'll ask you that, where did the remaining 1,000 students come from? So that means your data pipeline or whatever you have done in the transformation, whatever it is not reliable because I'm having, or maybe there's a discount in it. So now those things, there are things you need to watch out, because when you are dealing, especially in financial institutions, those things becomes very, very critical. It becomes very, very critical, because if maybe someone took a loan and the person has a standing balance, and you're telling, by the time you pull data from maybe their core banking solution, maybe Finacle or FlexCube, and you pick those data from their source, and when you now reporting it, or when you now put it in the warehouse for the other data professionals like data analysts to analyze, and you're now in your analysis is now showing that this person does not have a standing balance, you can put the bank in trouble, because now they will not be charging that person, except they have another source of truth that they are using to fact check what is coming out from your process. And one of the reasons why they have employed you as a data engineer to build pipelines for them is because they don't want to be doing manual computations anymore. Because do you know the number of customers they have? So now it must, whatever data pipeline you are building, it must be reliable, and whatever transformation you are doing, it must not affect the accuracy of the output. So now this is just an overview of what a data pipeline entails. You have the source, that means where we are getting the data from. You have the process in which you have your transformation, your cleansing, your aggregation, whatever it is. Then you have the destination where it is being stored. So it's from this destination, this storage. It could be a data lake, it could be a data warehouse, it could be a data mart. So the difference between all those things. Data warehouse, it's for instance, Tech Academy now, you have information of all their different sections. But when that doesn't, that they now begin to break them down. So if their warehouse, let's say they call their warehouse Tech Academy. So from that Tech Academy now, they can now build that Tech Academy warehouse. From there now, they can now build a data mart and say, okay, data engineering. They can build another data mart and say, okay, data scientist and the likes. Do you understand? So it gets broader that way. So your data storage could be anything based on the business. So like I've stated some of these examples, like you're collecting the sales data from e-commerce, you're cleaning it, loading into a warehouse, you're building a real-time dashboard, a data warehouse. So like I said, data real-time dashboard, like monitoring. Like maybe you have you are collecting data from this IoT or maybe a CCTV camera, and you're now reporting it 5 minutes late. The culprit could have escaped. And if it's in a system where data is not collected well in that country, the person might even escape it, and that's the end of it. So now an overview of a data engineering life cycle. This is where it's happens. So in data engineering, you have this, and this is inside this. That is where the core is, where data pipeline is. So you have data generation, like I said, thousands, millions of data rather is being generated every second as we speak. Data is being generated. Some people are doing transfers, some people are doing withdrawals, some people are doing a lot of activities are going on. Some people are booking hotel rooms. That's for those in the Airbnb. They are doing reservations. Some people are in the education sector. Some people are registering for course. The school are also keeping all those records. Some people are doing they are applying for their certificates. A lot of processes are going on, and all those things, they are data. So now you can see, this is why the data engineering let me say the data engineering field, it involves a lot. Like a data engineer is almost like you're like the one holding like the two ends, the upstream and the downstream together. So you can see data is being generated, it's ingested. That means you are picking it, you are transforming it, you are serving it to those that are machine learning experts, those that want to use data after you have stored it, those that want to use it for machine learning, for predictive analysis and the like, those that want to do maybe descriptive analytics, those that want to report, and you have some undercurrent. So let me just so yeah, okay, I made a reference because I got this from there's this book, Fundamentals of Data Engineering by Joe Rees and Matt. It's a very good read for anyone that loves to read. Like if you read that, you have broad knowledge about data engineering as a whole. So yeah, you have some undercurrents like security, data management, data ops, data architecture, orchestration, software engineering. So you see, as a data engineer, you have to know a lot of things. But then it's not based on tools most times. It's based on the basics, because you can't know all the tools. To be honest with you, you cannot know all the tools, because there are many tools that keep existing, like different tools, different update on tools. When I started data engineering, I started with SSIS. Then I met some people. Sorry, someone saying something? Okay. So I started with SSIS for my integrations and like. So sorry, I think there's a feedback. Sorry.
Please, if you're muted, kindly mute your mic, please.
Okay. So thank you. As a data engineer, definitely, if a company is exposing their data to you, you are moving it. They actually don't want other people to have access to it. So their data must not be leaked, must not be out there. There was a project I was working on for a particular I think it was an e-channel solution, and I was seeing a lot of transactions, huge amount of if they are entrusting you with their data, they don't want to have it leaked elsewhere, and that is why some financial institutions in Nigeria, so to say, they are stuck to on-premise implementations for moving some of their solutions because of attacks on cloud and the like. So they prefer they have it on premise so that their data is not being breached and everything. So that's that. So there are stages of maturity in data. So you have I usually pity anyone that is working in a company that they're just starting with data. So don't worry, if you're in that kind of company, I'm also experiencing that in some projects that I'm handling. So there are some companies that they just have their data everywhere. The worst part is not that they just have their data anywhere. The worst part is even those that are the custodian of the data, they don't even understand it most times. So I've worked on a project where we developed I and my team we developed a warehouse, then the reporting part of it for a financial institution. And by the time we started doing data validation, there's a lady that was in charge of she was like, this thing is not correct. I said, this thing is not correct. Like, how? Like, we did the aggregations from the data source. We did the aggregations at the destination, and it was giving us the same thing. So we said, okay, let's have a call where you share your screen. Let's see how you are calculating this. Then let's fact check it with what we have been calculating or what we are getting. And eventually, we got to know that because she was doing ours on Excel, we built a pipeline, and we used Power BI for the visualization, and we got to know that she was calculating wrongly. Like, and the alarming thing is that is the way they have been calculating it over the years. So it means that whatever reports they have been giving stakeholders or management has been wrong all this while. So that is one of the reasons for data pipelines, because you get to automate, and it is scalable, because once there's a new business rule, it's easy to apply. Not that you now have to be doing a lot of manual. No, it's easy to it's easy to apply a new business rule. For instance, if they are saying that okay, there was a time they started saying that you cannot withdraw above this amount or something. So all these things begins to help. So now, if this data maturity stages, there are companies that they are just starting with data. There are some they have gotten to the level where that okay, their data is sorted, they understand their data, they know what they want. So what they are just want now is they are scaling their data to make sure that okay, they're using the right tool. They are making sure that as the data is becoming more voluminous, they're able to manage it and the likes. And there are some the last stage is leading with data, those that are already making decisions based on their data. They're already picking insight from their data. They can easily recommend, okay, this section of our clients, this is the adverts they should be saying. These are the, so they're already making decisions from their data. So now imagine that you are a data engineer in a company that is already leading with data. Your work, like, it's not as if it will be easy, but then you have more professionals to work with. Unlike someone that is working in a company where they're just starting with engineer with data, it will most likely be the data engineer, it will be the data analyst, it will almost be the all in all. Do you understand? So these are just stages in which data mature. So now this is the role of a data, and like that's why I said that the role of a data engineer, it's a very, very critical role, because it also helps you to meet a lot of people. And if you are someone that you're very shy, I used to be someone that is shy, but then you have to interact with a lot of people. You have to have good communication skills, because some people don't know how to express themselves. Some people can speak to you rudely, but then you still have to achieve, because you need to get what they want. And the funny thing again, some people don't even know what they want. That's one funny part. Some people don't know what they want, and you still have to, as a data engineer, build pipelines for them, scalable pipelines. So now it now makes you to understand more. That's why I said, as a data engineer, you need to read. You read documentations, you will study. There was a time I was involved in a project that has to do with ATM management. So prior to that time, I didn't even know that there's something that is called on us, not on us, remote on us. When you're dealing with ATM machines, like there's when you use maybe your card on another bank's ATM, there's something they call it. There's not on us, there's remote on us. So it makes you to, especially when you're working on different projects of different fields, it makes you to have more understanding about things, because you must understand the field before you even say you want to even build data. As you must understand the end goal. You must understand what you want to build something for, because based on who is going to be using the data at the long run, that's what to determine what you are building. For instance, now, if you are building the data pipeline for a CEO, so a CEO of a company, and you are now doing building a data warehouse or something that the analyst will analyze, you're now building maybe something that that's okay, your staff members, this is their age, this is the time they joined the company. A CEO, I'm not sure a CEO is concerned with that. But if you are doing that for an HR, for maybe a human resource personnel, they'll definitely want to know, okay, when is this person's birthday? When did this person join this company? And the likes. But for a CEO, you want to be involved with, okay, what is our revenue? When are we making profit? When are we making loss? Do you understand? So the people, the consumers of the data, they're very important. So now you can see in the first scenario, a data engineer is the one between the internal users and the external users. In the section B scenario, you can see that the data engineer this also has to, like I said, as a data engineer, you need to know a lot, like a lot of things. For instance, even operating system, you know how to use a Windows operating system, because sometimes where the data source might be, it might be maybe on the Linux operating system. I need to, you have to pull data from it. So how will you do it? And also the data source might not be your relational. There's a time I had to work on anyone that has worked with a T24 a core bank, T24 core bank, you understand that T24 is actually semi-structured. You have XMLs, so you have to learn all those different kind of things. So yeah, in the C section, you can see that okay, there's a source system and there's the data engineer is between the source and the analytics. Then also you can see that the upstream are those that produce data, and the downstream, they're the one that consume the data, and the data engineer is the one between them. He picks the data from those that are producing it, process it, build pipelines, and make it available for those analysts, scientists, and machine learning. So that's why most data engineers, they're always proud that we are the backbone of of this data life cycle. If we don't build good data for you people, or whatever you'll be analyzing will be nonsense. And also data analysts will come and tell you that this thing you built is this data you're giving me is not correct. Do you understand? So it goes on like that. So let me just quickly run, because I know this is a 1 hour section and time is fast spent, and I just want to show some things and people to ask that question. So why data pipeline matters is because it helps to build power. It powers insight. Like I said, data. If you even from the countries that some of us stay, you go to some countries and you see that the way they have their data or the way they collect their data, it makes sense. In a country, you can see, you can feel, you can go to a maybe financial institution today, they'll say submit your NIN, submit your BVN. You go somewhere, even in some companies today, they will say submit your this. Tomorrow, this same information they ask over and over and over again, and you be like, have I not submitted this? Have I not done that? Do you understand? And also, it helps to drive value. Like I said, if you don't have your data well processed, well collected, you might not be even getting value. You might be like, okay, your business is not making waves. Whereas the data that you are not processing, you have in your fragmented system, that they are the reason why your business is not moving, because there's no one processing those data for you, and like the data are just the data, they are just seated there. Nothing is being done from it, and there you can get what to do, you can get what not to do. And also there are some pitfalls you might need to avoid, because like I said, whatever transformation you are doing on your data pipeline, whatever processing you are doing, the quality must remain. You must not miss any data. You must not miss any critical insight. So, like I said, there are a lot of importance of. So that I'll just quickly, like I said, the slides are actually much, and there is no time. And I want people to ask questions. I also want to show some things. So one of the importance of, or some of the importances of data pipeline is that it must be scalable. Like I said, if the data is becoming much, like voluminous, you started with 1 billion records, it's getting to 2 billion. Now the system is hanging. The data pipeline, something that is using let's say 3 minutes to extract before, now it's now taking 1 hour. Do you imagine? So people like, what's going on? We have not seen our record. Yes, this data has not entered. Do you understand? So it must be something that must be scalable. And also, like I said, data pipelines help you to consolidate, pick data from different sources. There are some teams in some companies. You call this team, they'll say, they are this team, they are the credit monitoring. This team, they are the operations. And you have to pick data from all of them and make the analysis. So it goes along. So why must you master data pipelines? It's because it creates a reliable data foundation, data integrity and accessibility. Different people, the CEO maybe is in Canada. It does not have to be in Nigeria to say that, okay, I want to see the revenue today and the likes. It also prevents data issues. Like I said, if you are doing manual computation, or maybe you are collecting data using flash drive, or someone is sending into, a lot of mistakes can happen, and also it helps you to unlock insights. So let me just scan through some of those important points. And one of the reason why you must master also, like I said, there are the big V's in data: volume, variety, and velocity. Velocity has to do with the speed, how you get data, and also why you must master them also, because it helps you to reduce error and also support real-time insight. So there are some key components. Yeah, so it must have a similarity with the data and engineering life cycle. You are ingesting, you are transforming, you are storing, you have orchestration, monitoring, sources, and the like. You have your source first, your ingestion process, your transformation, your storage, then you orchestrate. That's where your automation has to go through. And after you are done, you have to monitor, because after you are done, something can fail. One person, maybe you define the column to be integer. One person now go and put varchar or string into it. The type pipeline will fail, and if you don't put checks there, you will not know that something is failed. You just know, okay, some are passing. Excuse me. They are seeing some record, they are not seeing some record. So it happens like that. So, and like I said, some of the architectures in pipeline, you have batch, you have streaming, and you have the Lambda architecture. That Lambda is like combination of batch and streaming. So basically, the batch is just like in batches. So some banks, they don't get some records until the end of the day. They now compute that, okay, this is our record for the end of the day. Why some? For instance, like I said, if you are doing a monitoring system, you cannot be doing batches, because if you are monitoring something, the event can happen anytime. It can happen. Okay, imagine in a football process, a referee is blowing for a penalty that has happened 30 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago. You are going to cause a lot of discord, because the home team will tell him that this thing has happened 20 minutes ago. That's after many plays, we are now blowing. So, you must know what kind of architecture you are building. Is it batch? Is it streaming? Or is it combination of both? So, okay, I think I have that here too. Comparison between ETL and ELT. And also, you must know the kind of architecture you are building. Is it for on-premise or is it for cloud? On-premise is like, okay, our resources are, on the maybe on a server, on the physical server, whereas cloud is, it's cloud storage where you have, your different cloud sources like providers rather, like Azure, GCP, and AWS, so to say. So, and if you have whatever you are picking, they have their pros and their cons. For instance, if you are using batch, the processing is periodic, while in streaming, like I said, it is real time. Latency in batch is high, while in streaming it is low. Then complexity and the likes. So let me just skip to some points, then I'll just show some things there wrapped up because I think the time is almost up. So one of the things you need to, like I said, as a data engineer, you need to have vast knowledge, is understanding your domain. So like I mentioned earlier, you're a data engineer, fine. There's nothing like I'm a data engineer, some back-end engineer, they can say mobile back-end engineer. And let me put it in web development term. In web development terminology, you used to have front-end guys, back-end guys. So in the data world, back-end guys are like the data engineers, are the ones that do all those combination of the data, joinings and everything, making the data ready. So, what you see on your application is what those front-end guys we do. So that's what data analysts will do. So data analysts will now come and analyze data, everybody now sees, but no one knows what has gone, behind. So that is just me putting the data engineering. So now, when I say understanding your domain, so when I say understanding your domain, you have to do that where you are picking the data source from. If you are picking the data source from API, then you need to understand how to extract data from API. If you are picking it from, let's say, core banking, you need to understand their first script. You need to understand that domain, and you need to understand the business also. Imagine you are building maybe a data pipeline for a particular let's say a particular football club, and from that football club you are now doing analysis for their data, or you want to extract data from them, and you're not even maybe looking at their yellow card, red card. You're now one of the data you're now extracting is jersey number. In real sense, the jersey number might not have anything to do in the long run. But when you're not extracting jersey number, and you're not leaving out the number of yellow cards. Do you understand that the coach or maybe technical team could use to caution us, okay, let me play this player now, let me play this player later. You understand? So you need to understand your domain. So there are a lot of things here. There are a lot of things to consider and the likes. Let me see if there's any other important. So there are a lot of different storage and the likes. So let me just excuse me. There are some pitfalls, and okay, let me just go to some the takeaways because of time. So some of the key takeaways is that understand your domain, like I said, understand the business first. If it takes you to go and read about the business you want to, build a pipeline for, you have to do it. And also your choice, like I said, in the data engineering world, when you're building pipeline, it is not as is. When I say it is not as is, even if you build data pipeline for MTN and you want to build the same data pipeline for Airtel, the business or the end goal, what they want to achieve, is what to determine if it's the same thing you will use for them. Because Airtel can come and say that in our own business, we don't charge customer until maybe they use 2 minutes on a call. Do you understand? So it's not as so you need to understand, and that's whatever MTN could tell you that okay, we want to be seeing our data as it is, as the ought. Why Airtel could tell you that no, our own, it's after 1 hour we want to see. Do you understand? So you must understand those, and those things will help you to pick the tools to use. And also critical decisions. So like I made mention, whatever data you are extracting for your data pipeline, or you are putting in the data, it has to be something that is important, so that you don't even, because especially when it has to do with cloud, because cloud, if you are dealing with cloud, I must be honest with you, you must understand the resources. Because something happened a few weeks ago. One guy, he opened, he did some data engineering on cloud, I think AWS to be specific, and maybe within a week his cost has entered $600 and something because he just left the resource there. He didn't destroy it after using it, and that thing will keep accumulating. And the guy was like, "Please, what is the meaning of this?" And people were like, "Hi, you have to pay for this." You understand? And people were like, just leave the account alone and go and create and down, and you learn a lesson. Like, so that's why infrastructure as a code, too, is important. Instead of doing click. If you are using infrastructure as a code, like maybe Terraform, you'll be able to quickly destroy it and know that, okay, this thing I don't need it anymore. So also you have to design for scalability and reliability. Then your tools, like I said, the tools you are using is not because, okay, this is the tools I know how to use. Fine. Sometimes there was a time my team had to do a project with a company, and the reporting tool, they said they have invested so much on Oracle. That was even the first time I knew that there's something that is called OBI. So they said their reporting platform is OBI. Do you understand? So a company that has invested so much on that, you won't tell them that, okay, because you know how to use Power BI, they have to, it's either you are not taking the role or the job, or you have to learn it. So that's why it's always good to understand the basics, because tools will always change. And also you need to, whatever pipeline you are building for long-term success, you have to automate them and constantly monitor them for any changes. So as a data engineer, what I would just advise as next step is take on explore open tools. So is someone saying something? Explore open tools, join communities like this, build, like start building something, start with a project, whatever project it is, and also, join few online industry trends. So let me just show you some from SSIS, like so. So this is one data warehouse pipeline I built. So I might not be able to run it because I didn't connect it to the data source. So yeah, you can see this is the staging environment. Then this is where I have the warehouse. You can see I'm already having dimension and facts here. And here you can see the staging environment. What we have in my staging, you see, I might be doing a full load, so I might need to truncate. But when I get to the warehouse, I might be doing, am I doing an incremental, the name is dimension, what type of SSD am I doing, and the like. So like I said, it's not as is, it's based on the business. So, and also you have different, there's one I also did on the cloud. So you can see this another data pipeline here on the Azure. So you can see the different processes. So it's based on the use case, and I think there's some I orchestrated on Airflow also. So excuse me. So you can see different tags here. So you can see, let me put it so you can see them. So you can see how they relate to each other. So because dependency is also important. So you can see that group 2 before group 2 and group 1, group 3 is depending on both of them and the like. So that's just an overview. I'm very sure maybe if you register with Techie Academy, they'll give you a broader overview of whatever entails data pipelines. I don't know if anyone has any question.
All right, thank you so much, Oluwagbemiga. Thank you for that wonderful session. That was quite insightful, and I myself learned a lot. Thank you for breaking everything down into pieces. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. That was quite insightful, like very, very detailed. Thank you. So, in case you have, if you have questions, please, you can drop them in the in-call message area, so Oluwagbemiga can attend to your questions. And so if you have questions, please drop your questions in the chat area. Do you have questions for Oluwagbemiga?
Okay, I want to ask, can we raise up our
Someone's
hands?
hand is up. Can you what?
Yes, my hand is up. Can I ask my
Okay.
question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Oluwagbemiga. Thanks for this. My question is this. unlike data analysis and then data science, that we always see their projects everywhere. For me personally, I feel that data engineering and projects are always scarce. So how do we tend to pick up all these projects and starting as a data engineer? Because I don't know, maybe you got the question. It's not too common
Yes.
like data analysis
Yeah.
and data science.
Yeah.
So how do
Yeah.
we tend to and how do
Yeah.
we scale?
Yeah. You're right. So, like I said, most times when you start as a data engineer, you play around with, test data. Like, it's not often that you get to see real world data because no one release data. Even you see, while I was trying to show things, I didn't show anything that is confidential to maybe any company I've worked with or for. Do you understand? So, but to be honest with you, that is why you have a place like this Techie Academy. One advantage as a data engineer when you start is when you have mentorship, people to guide you, to be honest. And also there are some projects, like I said, the more you build projects, for instance, if you build a project that has to do with some tools, let's say on-premise tools, tomorrow you build another one that the data source is API. You are learning web scraping gradually. You are building another one that has to do with maybe you are picking for. So it's because, like I said, they are like the back end guys. When you put it in the context of web development, they're like the back end guys. So whatever you will even see, it has to be like maybe they posted it on GitHub. It's not something that you can easily visualize. Okay, I think one of the things just give me a minute. Let me share my screen again. I think one of the things I missed was some architectures. So I think so I had some architectures here. So I think I picked some online. This is okay. Yeah, very good. I don't know, I missed that out. So these are some of the architecture I built for different projects. So you can see them different architecture, and I have some tools that I build out. How do I put it? I state out the ER diagram. So then one of the tools is there's this DBO diagram. So yeah, I have it here. So I can easily, from here I can easily say, okay, these are the relationship in whatever data I am doing. So yeah, I'm already mapped before I even start the project. So you can see before I even start the project, I've already mapped out the relationships. Can you see that this one is broad, like it has to do with a lot of tables and the like. So from the schema, it's snowflake schema, not star schema, where you have many dimensions to one fact. So yeah, you can have dimensions to dimensions. Do you understand? So I think this is DB diagram. So and most times I also build my architecture using Power BI and what is it called? PowerPoint. So I built this one. I developed this one for a colleague. She was doing some personal projects on extracting data from Ireland. So to be honest with you, you have to start, maybe from academies like this, then run some personal projects. From there, like I said, LinkedIn too helps. There are some offers me to have gotten from LinkedIn. So we have left the era where you're saying your uncle did not help you to get a job or your auntie did not, people will definitely contact you from LinkedIn if they are seeing your progress, if they are seeing what you are putting out there. You could even, to be honest with you, you can even go to YouTube, look at some projects some people have done. That's why I said, academy and mentorship is important. You get to ask questions because all those people, you might not see them physically. So you get to ask questions from people that you can see. You can easily see that, this is I saw this thing online. I don't understand what this person is doing. You can even rebuild a project someone has done, then maybe do it better, then give credit to the person because it's very important giving credit to people, or else they will sue you except you have a good lawyer. So I don't know if I answered the question.
Yes, you did. But just what I just want to add is that, so how do we get into this Tech Academy? Because I'm just hearing it for the first time.
Oh, I think I didn't
Okay.
can answer your question.
Okay, all right. Good evening. So to get into Techie Academy, so you can drop in your mobile number or probably reach out to me on WhatsApp for data engineering, it's a 6-month program. So you can chat me on WhatsApp on this number, which I'm going to drop in the chat area, what we talk better on it. So I'm going to tell you everything it entails and what you need to do to be able to, enroll with us. So Techie Academy is an EdTech, and we specialize in trainings for different programs. So I don't know if that is clear. So I've dropped
Yes,
my
thank
number
you.
in the chat area. You can reach out to me on WhatsApp.
Okay. Good evening, Adenike.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Sorry, please. I want to ask a question briefly. I'm looking. Okay, it's about the scholarship, and I wanted to know
Okay.
how or what it covers, because is it just for a particular course, or it covers maybe about 2 or 3 or something? I wanted to know like what it entails.
Okay,
I
all
don't
right.
know if
Thank you
you.
very much for that question. Yeah, thank you very much for that question. So the scholarship covers like a certain percentage from your tuition free, but how many
Okay.
percentage you are going to be getting is what I do not know. And
Okay.
there is a scholarship exam coming up soon.
Okay.
Yes, so where you can get scholarship for any of your preferred programs.
Okay, just one. One of
Yes,
any of
one
the okay. All right, all
one
right.
of your preferred program. Yeah.
Okay. And okay. I think the registration for these courses, I think is going to be like, well, okay. From personally I feel is one after the other, or can you like register simultaneous courses at like can you register
No,
about 2 or more courses?
for it's going to no, you can register one course, because so this is it. We have part-time and we have full-time, right? So it depends on the
Okay.
one you want to register for and how far you can catch up. Because if you're registering for 2 courses at a go, it
Yeah.
might become overwhelming to you, because
Rigorous.
this is
Yeah.
going to be like very, very practical.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you want to
Okay. Okay.
combine
Okay.
2 courses or
Okay.
2 programs at the same time.
Okay. Okay. It's
So
all
I don't
right.
know if you
And I get your
understand me.
point. No, I get your point. That answers my question. I just wanted because you'd find out that some maybe organizations or institutions have a way of, sandwiching programs for people who want to. So I just wanted to know if that kind of option was available, and that was all. But I
Okay, so
actually
our
prefer
courses
this
are
because
actually
it doesn't
very,
test
very
people and you get to focus more and give it your all. So
yes.
thank you
So
very
our
much.
courses
Yeah.
are very, very detailed. So if you're now
Yeah.
combining like 2 courses together, right? How do you want to,
Yeah.
it's going
I
to
get your
become
point.
very, very overwhelming.
Yeah, I get your point. It's all right. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So if you have further questions, you can reach out to me on WhatsApp on this number. So you can check the chat area for the number. All right. So somebody is asking, somebody is asking, what do you consider when building scalable pipelines and thinking about sorting latency due to volume?
Okay, thank you. So let me just jokingly address Joshua. Joshua, choose data engineering. I'm not joking, but you can choose whatever you want based on your final decision. Okay, so the question was what do you consider when building scalable pipelines, thinking about sudden latency due to volume? So some of the things you can implement is load balancing. So you could put a load balancer to make sure that sometimes when something is entering through just one point, I don't know if you can still hear me. If something is entering through one point, right, it gets congested. So you can make sure that it's not entering through one point. So you are balancing the load. So once it gets to a point at this point, it enters another point. Another thing also is when the volume is getting much, sometimes you might need to check the script. That's where optimization comes in. You might need to check the script in which you are using to extract those records. There was a time that I used to joke with some of my colleagues that are software engineers. I said that If a software engineer writes a script, I will know, because that their core is software engineering. But if a data engineer or someone in data field writes a script, there are some optimization he will put there. Sometimes you might decide to use CTE instead of just going ahead to be using join. So because there are a lot there are a lot of what's it called, factors that you can easily consider when it has to do with the latency due to the volume. And also again, it could even be the capacity of the tools you are using. It could be the capacity of the tool, or it could even be how you wire this thing. That is why whenever you are building a data pipeline, you need to also build an audit with it. When I say audit, there must be log for you to be able to check, okay, when did this thing start? When did it end? So that's why I said that after orchestrating, after building everything, automating it, orchestrating, you have to monitor it. Sometimes you just build data pipeline. Okay, is it working? Fine, it's working. That's the end. That's the end. Thanks for doing business with you. That's not where it ends. Actually, you need to be checking. You have to be monitoring. This thing, I've noticed that this thing has been failing, or I've noticed that this thing usually take 20 minutes before. Now it's taking 10 minutes. And like I would say, if there's difference between you want to be a world-class data engineer and you just want to be a data engineer so you can collect salary. If you are looking at maybe you want to work in some top industry, or you want to actually add value to things, there's someone on LinkedIn, I can't remember his name. I read this post one day and it was like, if he interview people maybe on SQL, he will tell them to write a script. Let's assume that a summation, sum this thing. If you write a script for him, he will ask you that, is there another way you can write it? He said he will ask about maybe 4 different ways, because there's just not one way to do something. There are better ways. So if you have done something, you have designed a pipeline, don't be all those data engineer that so far it is working, leave it alone. No, you need to find. That's why I said community mentorship and stuff like this are important. You could even share your issue with people. You could share your architecture with people. You could even share that, okay, at this thing, I've been noticing this thing. There might be someone that has worked on, okay, let me share this to add to it or to close this. There's a senior colleague, he joined the company, and I can't remember the exact figure. They're operating on AWS. Then I think for every month they were paying, let's say 21, because the company is in Germany, they're paying, let's say, $21,000. That's just my estimate. I can't remember the exact amount. Then he now came in, as the data platform engineer. I was like, why are we spending this much? Why are we spending this much? Why are we spending? Then he sat down with the architecture, sat down with everything. Then he noticed that the issue was coming from those that are querying the data warehouse. So you notice that the data analysts, they're exposed to the data warehouse. So maybe when they want to check this one, they run query. Another person come in the afternoon. And one thing about all this cloud infrastructure is whatever you do as you are doing it, cost is accruing. So you have to come with the suggestion that, okay, maybe they build a data mart for the data analyst, maybe in an on-premise or something, where whenever they want to run their query, they run it against that. And maybe the company I was paying like $21,000 a month, monthly, they're not paying like, let's say, $1,000. Do you know that the kind of value he has added to that? So there are a lot of ways when it has to do with the volume. And also you could also consider batch, if it's not something that you can decide that, okay, let's be doing this thing in batches. And it could also be, when it comes to data, it can also be that the way you are doing it. For instance, now, if you are doing a full load, for instance, you are picking, let's assume that the way you are picking your new record, maybe you are not doing change data capture. You're just picking the full load. For instance, you are picking, if you are doing number of students in a school now, it might not be very, very much. But transaction in a day, you're now, instead of you to be picking, let's say, daily, you're not picking from the inception of the bank, or you're not picking data every day like that. It becomes more voluminous. So is either you're doing it like incremental. So, like I said, the approach you are using in your architecture also matters. It can help you to, scale when it has to do with the latency when it comes to volume. I don't know if I answered the question. I don't know who asked that question.
All right, thank you very much, Oluwabimija. So there's another question in the chat area. What are the basic tools a data engineer should be familiar with to build a data pipeline?
Excuse me. Okay. Basically, I would say that it depends on the project you want to work on. But as a data engineer, basically, you need to learn SQL, you need to learn Python. Then you now need to learn an integration tool or a tool that you want to use for your architecture to extract the data. Yes, you can start with SSIS. You can decide to start with ADF if you have the money for cloud, because they'll be charging you. So, but basically, as data, I've met a data engineer that said that he has not written SQL script for years. I've met data engineers that say that they are comfortable with SQL than Python. I've met some that say they're comfortable with Python than SQL. So, but basically, you must understand scripting. And I said also, the data engineering scope is very, very wide. You will have to understand operating system.
If I leave me in the chi now, why is this guy? So so if you notice in the banking sector and some of these government projects, because I'm in the government space, it's intake glass permit and some of these police services and even the custom services is most of the databases where I handle most of these databases. Well, now we are trying to move data from the cloud service to an on-premise server. But you notice maybe the linkage of the cloud service to the on-premise, trying to do the whole mapping and all of that, and trying to create a migration plan, and all of that is taking a lot of hectic. Listen, I want to know if you have done something like that in the past, and if you have, I would like to maybe chat to you, or so that you can guide me through some of these things. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, like I said, as a data engineer, one of the things you have to learn is is communication. If you're talking to end users, if you're using big terminology on your own, because at the end of the day, when you're done with 1 hour, they'll come and tell you that we don't understand. So that's just that. And also, like I will say, it's promising. I have a senior colleague that got a job in UK, and they sponsor this travel and everything. So I won't lie to you, like you said, it's a promising career. Then to your question, it's not actually common, for people bringing data from cloud to on-premise. But then I know that you have to have some linkage that has to do with the gateway. For instance, if you are doing maybe SQL to Azure, you have a gateway, and if you are pulling from, let's say, an API, that you must have a tool. So now I've worked on some like that, but it now depends on the system in which you want to pick from and where you want to put it. Do you understand? So it depends on where you are. There are different cloud service now. Someone can classify that, okay, this is my API. It's a cloud this thing. I've worked on a project where we have to pick data from an API and put it in Postgres SQL. So it's like I said, it depends on it. If you say, okay, from a cloud service to on-premise, it's very generic. That on-premise, is it Oracle? On-premise? Is it SQL? Is it Postgres? Is it MongoDB? Do you understand? So it's generic. So like you said, you could chat me up later, maybe on LinkedIn or anywhere. You can speak more elaborate on it. But definitely, like I said, you as a data engineer, as you work on more projects, you learn a lot. The very first time I was faced with XML, extracting from XML, I was like, what is this one? Do you understand? But then, like, you learn. Someone must have done it before. And if someone has not done it before, that means it is on now your shoulder for you to be the first person to do it. Do you understand? So there's nothing that is not achievable. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, and maybe you drop your number in the chat. so I can copy it from there.
Yeah, no problem. You can chat me up on
Thank
it's
you
the
very
same
much.
thing on LinkedIn. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. Do you still have do you have questions? So I think that will be all. Okay, so there are no questions in the chat area. Thank you, Oluwagbemiga, for coming. Thank you, everyone, for coming, for showing up. So if you have further questions, you can reach out to me on WhatsApp or send email to us at techie.careers@gmail.com or techiewebinars@gmail.com. Also, you can check us out on LinkedIn or Instagram, Techie Academy, and on Instagram, Techie_Academy. So we want to hear from you. We want you to be the best out there, the best data engineer out there. So thank you so much, Oluwagbemiga. So I think there are no questions right now, and that will be all. Thank you so much. You all should have an amazing night rest. Bye.